gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day.
Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. I am so happy to be here with you today. How's your Tuesday been? What's been good in your world? And I will ask my absolute favorite question. What can you celebrate today? What are the good things you have in your life right now? I'm celebrating the fact that it was a gorgeous day. I got out of my office for a little while and took a walk, a short walk to it was actually to get a second lunch or an early dinner. I'm not sure which one it was because I ate breakfast early, which meant I ate lunch early, which meant I about 3:30 felt very sad that I also did not bring a snack. So I wandered down to my favorite lunch spot and got a little something, and that was my dinner. It was lovely, but it was a nice chance to get out of the office around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Peter, so glad you're here. This topic sure got your attention. Awesome. So we're going to be talking about habit trackers today. I'm really excited to chat about it, but I want to set the stage a little bit. So if you're just coming in, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know that you're here so I can say hello. Otherwise, Peter, I think it's just you and me, which would be fine too. So I want to share an experience I had last week. So last week, I did not do a live stream because I was away Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, attending a conference for my 9 to 5. This is the annual conference of my state chapter of our professional association. For those of you who don't know, I'm a librarian. It's like the coolest gig, second only to the journaling work that I do. James, you're here. Hello. Thanks for being here with us. So one of the things I do at this conference is we exhibit in the exhibit hall. And we were set in an interesting place this year. Usually we're on an end cap, so we face, when people come in. This time we were on a sidewall, so we were facing a row of vendors. And there was one vendor who was set up like exactly right in front of us. So all through this conference, we, chatted back and forth and looked at each other and made silly faces. And that first night, the first full night, so Monday, we went out to dinner. We grabbed some drinks and then went and grabbed dinner. It was a colleague of mine and then this vendor. And the three of us, had a grand night. We were chatting and talking and really chatting about everything. And then I happened to mention, I do some work, with helping people journal. And I run this really beautiful facilitated journaling group. And she's like, oh, well, then you're exactly who I want to talk to. And she proceeds to dig in her bag and pull out this very well-loved blue Lecterm notebook. And she says, okay, so I bullet journal and I love bullet journaling, but I think I should also do some real journaling. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by real journaling? And she says, well, I think I mean writing about my feelings and stuff. And I was like, oh, feelings. Do you want to write about your feelings? And she's like, well, no, not really. And I said, okay, tell me more about your bullet journaling. And she was like, oh, and her face lit up. She's like, I use it to keep myself on track. And I put all my to-dos in there. And then I put my photographs and I do a little scrapbooking and I stick memorabilia in the pages. She's like, I love journaling this way. And so I asked her, I was like, oh, you like journaling this way? She's like, yeah, I love it. And I said, well, does it meet your needs? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. I said, so it's working for you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to do something different? She says, no. And I'm like, great. So take this as the permission you don't need from me to keep doing exactly what you're doing. Don't let someone else's idea of what journaling should be get in the way of what actually is working for you. So we've got some more friends joining us. Our friend Lee is here. Lee, so nice to see you. And Cindy, happy you're here. And Tracy, yes, we've started. We're chatting. We're chatting about habit trackers today. And habit trackers are a tool that is very familiar to people in the bullet journaling world. I am not a bullet journaler, mostly because I get caught up in all the stuff of bullet journaling and find that gets in the way of what I need journaling to do for me. But I love that bullet journaling is a thing and that so many people have found ways to make it work. So, what I love about habit trackers, they are exactly what you imagine they are. They are a tool that are designed to track your habits. I'm going to show you a few of them. I'm going to bring it on screen. Here we go. So this is my habit tracker. This is the one I made for myself. This is the one I use. I keep it on a clipboard above my desk. And I'm just realizing I have not filled it out yesterday or today. So this is apparently not a good week for me to demonstrate using a habit tracker. But if you use a habit tracker, I would just love to know. Maybe you could drop it in the chat. Have you seen one? Have you used them? Do you love them? But pretty much it is a place for you to write in the habits you want to track and then track whether or not you're doing it. I track mine on a weekly basis because I find 7 days is the perfect amount of time for me to keep track of what I'm doing. Any more than that, and I tend to get discouraged if I miss too many days. And I love the idea of starting with a clean slate every week. I also love how every week I have a chance to reevaluate my habits and to assess whether I need to continue to track that habit or if I'm ready to move on to track something else. I'll just show you this one. This is a monthly habit tracker that is broken down by specific habits. So habit 1, and here are all the boxes you can check. Habit 2, and all the boxes you can check, and so forth. This is another kind of habit tracker. Set up the same way. It's a monthly habit tracker. This one I love just because it's so pretty. You can write your habit here in the big portion and then track it as it goes around, and it has a place to track lots of different habits. So there's all kinds of ways you can do them. And we've got Tracy saying, yeah, she loves them. Great. So Tracy, if you have any tips to share or anything you want to share as we go along, I'd love to hear it if you'd put it in the chat, what works best for you. The habit trackers are really great because starting new habits can be really difficult. It can be really hard to remember sometimes that we want to do a habit. How many of you out there have ever decided, oh, I'm going to start doing this thing every day, whether it's I'm going to drink a glass of water in the morning before I do anything else, or maybe it's I'm going to read 20 minutes a day, or I'm going to call my mom on my way into work 3 times a week, whatever that habit is. And then it's bedtime and you're brushing your teeth and you think, oh, I didn't do that thing or this thing or that thing. And especially when there are lots of habits we want to introduce in our lives. And that's why I love using a habit tracker, because it gives me an opportunity to really sit and think about what I want to track and then make it happen. So I'm going to skip through my clipboard here, find a good week because it'll make me feel better to show you a good week instead of the week I haven't done. So here's one. This is from a couple of weeks ago, and I love it because it has lots of circles filled in. In fact, this was a week where I accomplished almost everything that I wanted to track. And I'm not tracking. I was going to say I'm not tracking really big things. I'm tracking the small things that are more important than I give them credit to. I started taking a new medication in December. I think I'm at the point where I'm remembering to take it even when I don't, look at my habit tracker to make sure, but I love having it there to hold me accountable. I'm tracking things like giving myself a compliment in the mirror every morning, moving my body, getting outside every day, doing some kind of spirit practice. Could be a meditation, it could be some yoga, it could be pulling some oracle cards, could be some journaling, whatever I feel like my spirit needs. Things like contacting a friend, reading for 20 minutes a day, checking my bank account balances and giving thanks for what I see, posting on LinkedIn every day, or doing some kind of outreach activity. So I'm tracking habits kind of all over the place, and I love them because it helps me really focus on what's important. The habits I'm tracking aren't any random habits. They're habits that I've identified align with my goals for myself this year, and habits that are going to move me closer to where I want to be. Um, so Tracy says she uses different styles for different things, colors for moods, fill in boxes for tasks. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I love how there's so many ways to do a habit tracker. Um, so great that it's a tool that's so customizable. I love using a habit tracker because it holds me accountable for the things that I say I'm going to do. Because again, life is busy and life gets in the way of a whole lot of stuff sometimes, including these habits that I'm trying to institute and trying to reinforce. So, making sure I hold myself accountable is a really great tool. And for me, I've discovered that keeping my habit tracker on a clipboard above my desk is a really good plan, because it means it's within eyesight every day. It means when I'm working here, just a quick glance up to keep myself on track. Um, I love it because it helps me see the progress that I'm making. So often, the goals we set for ourselves are big, and they require a lot of work and a lot of steps, but many of them, most of them, can be broken down into habits. And when we solidify these habits that get us closer to our goal, then we can really start seeing our progress. And I love that. I love being able to flip through my clipboard and identify what was a good week for me. What progress have I made? Oh, hey, look, I have done this particular habit now for 6 weeks straight without missing a day, right? It's a really cool way to really see how I'm doing, and really keeps me on target with my goals. If I have a week that I don't do so hot, it's an opportunity for me to assess what happened. Did I just get busy? Did I forget? Did I have something come up? Did I just not feel motivated? Right? What was that thing that got in the way of me doing what I've said is important to me? And it's a chance for me to also evaluate how far I've come in terms of, do I need to continue to track this habit, or has this tool helped me to the point where I no longer need to track it because it has now become a habit and I don't have to think about it. I just do it. And then Lee, I love this. Um, I love it. I should try it. Yeah, you totally should. It's a great tool. I recommend them. I really do. Habit trackers are great for being able to evaluate what we've already achieved. Um, we can, I can look at them and say, okay, well, what days have I been successful? And then be able to reflect on what circumstances led me to that success. And likewise, what what days did I struggle, or what weeks did I struggle with these habits? And what got in the way? And what supports can I put in place for myself so that I can be more successful next time? And I love this reflection piece. And sometimes I do this reflection just in my head. Sometimes I do it in my journal. But it's really important to have a reflection process, excuse me, that goes hand in hand with our habit trackers. Um, and it also is an opportunity to assess, is my goal, are these goals still the right ones for me? Or is it time to reassess and move on? All right, excuse me for just a moment. Okay, that was fun. I hope you guys are still with me. It has been a gruesome allergy season so far for me here. But I'm okay. I haven't died. So I hope you're still with me. If you want to drop a comment in the chat, let me know you're still here. I would love to know it. I love habit trackers because I love the opportunity to celebrate the small wins that this provides. Because when we are people who set goals here and are happy to celebrate when we're here, and let me know if that resonates with you, it can be so hard to give ourselves credit for the things that we've done because, we start here. Thanks, Lee. Yay for not dying. When we start here and, this is our goal, if we get to here, it's so easy to miss this bit of progress we made because we're looking at how far we still have to go. But our habit tracker can help us really celebrate those successes. Hey, this week I checked all of the boxes, right? Or even better, not just checking the boxes. This week I did all of the things I said I was going to do. I kept all of my promises to myself. Like that is worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating all of our small moments, and having a habit tracker just really helps keep them top of mind and helps make sure I don't overlook anything that's really important just because it's small. One of my favorite quotes comes from the book Catch 22 by Joseph Heller. And I can't remember who's speaking, but it was just a little line that jumped out at me in high school when I read it. And it said, just because they're small doesn't mean they're unimportant. And as someone who is not quite 5 feet tall, I initially loved it because I'm like, oh, wait, hey, just because she's small doesn't mean she's unimportant. But I love to liken it to these small habits that we do, right? Just because they're small, because they don't take up a lot of space in our lives, doesn't mean they're not important. Oh, Tracy, this is so great. I'm so glad you said this. Habit tracking makes it easier to make sure self-care doesn't get pushed to the back burner for too long. Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I grouped the habits that I'm currently tracking into 5 categories. I have taken care of my body and my spirit. So that self-care piece you were just talking about, building meaningful relationships, making time for regular creativity and learning, to nurture my relationship with money, and to grow my business. Those are the 5 big goals that I have for myself this year. And so I'm reflecting all of those on my habit tracker. And it is amazing to see how helpful it has been in moving all of those things along and keeping all of those goals top of mind for me. Again, having this habit tracker here on my wall reminds me to act. That if I'm not sure if I have done something, generally, I can look to see if I checked it off because I'm normally very good about checking off the boxes as I go. It's an instant reward. Let me tell you, if you are somebody who just needs a hit of dopamine, there is no better feeling than getting to check off your box. I have actually circles and I fill them in. But it's so satisfying to be able to go down the row and say, oh, yep, I did this, and I did this, and I did this. And I will share my secret with you. I always like to put a thing or 2 or 3 that I already do and I'm going to do anyways on my habit tracker because it feels good to just check so many boxes. It's kind of akin to writing something on your to-do list that you've already done just for the joy of crossing it off. It's just instant gratification. So, especially if habit trackers are new to you and you're trying to get in the habit of using a habit tracker, that's a really great tip. Is just set yourself up for success by adding something you know you're already successful at. And I love how it is a historical record of the habits that I'm forming, of really what I'm doing when. Some may say, well, this isn't journaling. This is something else. I always say it's like journaling adjacent, but I think it totally counts. It's a component in a bullet journal. It's a way to collect data, and it's a way to hold myself accountable and to move my life forward. So I think it totally counts. Um, Let's see. Lee says it's brilliant. I've never considered tracking goals specifically through habits. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could claim credit for it. This was actually James Clear, I think I got it from, but it just makes so much sense. He says in his book, Atomic Habits, something to the effect of when you're setting goals, if you set habit based goals, then it's a matter of just asking the right questions, right? If I want to be somebody who is fit and healthy, right? The habits I might form might look like exercising 4 days a week. It might look like sleeping at least 8 hours a night. It might look like eating a particular way, right? And if we're not sure how to move forward, the question we ask ourselves is, oh, what would a person who is this, what would they do, right? And Tracy says, rewards for say 80% compliance makes it fun. Yes. You know, how often do we wait until we have more than exceeded our expectations to reward ourselves for all of our hard work, right? So I love that. Make it a game for yourself. Give yourself some rewards. Make it really fun and worth doing. All right. So I promised you we talk about what they are, why we would use them. I also want to identify. I use the word danger. It's a little exaggerated. So, just some kind of drawbacks to using a habit tracker. The first one is habit dependency. Using a habit tracker to track a habit and making sure you always use your habit tracker can lead for some people into never being able to do that habit without tracking it. Does that make sense? Um, the point of using a habit tracker is to help you build a habit. It's not to have to use this tool for this habit for the rest of forever. And if you find that you are only doing a habit for a long, ridiculously long time because you have the habit tracker to prompt you, then maybe it's time to really assess, is that a habit you need? Is that a habit that's working for you? Is it worth doing if you don't ever get to a place where you can do it without the aid of your habit tracker? Just a thought. Excuse me, spitting out my cough drop. And the other one is doing the things on your habit tracker because it feels really good to check the boxes versus doing the things on your habit tracker because it feels good to build those habits. And it's so easy to get lost in that that gamification frame of mind, right? Like so many things in our world are gamified. And when we use a habit tracker to do it, and we are so motivated on the outcome and having the score and building the habits that we miss the real intention behind it, which is to make our lives better, to make our lives easier, to make our lives more joyful. Whatever reason you have for using that habit or whatever reason that you have for instituting that habit and wanting that habit, really making sure that you use this as a tool and not a crutch, because it's sometimes a really fine line, right? Between using this tool to help me get to a place where I'm self-sufficient and using a tool so well, I always have to use the tool. So those are my thoughts on habit trackers. Any questions? Any other thoughts? Um, can you think of if this would be useful for you? Where in your life would this be useful? Um, think through if you're going to use a habit tracker, what format works best? I like a pen and paper, well, pencil and paper habit tracker for me because I love the tactile sense of filling in my circles. For other people, digital habit trackers are super helpful, and there's so many of them. I won't make a recommendation because there are so many out there. Um, right? But figuring which way for you is best. Identifying the habits you want to track. And I really recommend using tracking habits that are going to help you get to your goal. But thinking through where will you keep your habit tracker? Again, I tried to do this in a notebook in my journal and found when as soon as I closed the page, it was like this thing that didn't exist. So I find keeping it on my wall to be really effective for me. Um, that's just what works best for me. Um, so that's what I have today, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking through my coughing fit and my talking with my mouth full on one side. Thanks for being here. Thanks for giving me your time. And thanks for being you, because there is a special brand of magic you bring to the world. There is something special about you and something you can do in a way that nobody else can do, just like you can. And that is the coolest, best thing. It never ceases to humble me and excite me that there is a need for me in this world and that there's a need for you in this world. And the cool thing is, we get to discover what that is and discover why we are here and to really lean into it. If you are curious to dig in a little bit more, I will tell you next month. Oh, no, this month, next week, is my monthly journaling mini retreat. If you are around next Wednesday, May 17th, 7:30 p.m., we're going to get together for an hour and do some group journaling, and we're going to journal around the themes of purpose and impact. Really excited about this one. I hope you will join me. Here is the link to register: amandastern.as.me/retreat. I would love to see you there. It is free. It is an hour of just self-care and self-discovery and connection and reflection. And it's open to anybody who has an open mind and an open heart and a willingness to dig in and to dig in. Well, Cindy, so glad you are here. I hope they're helpful. Do follow up with me and let me know if you use a habit tracker for anything. I would love to. I would love to know. And with that, my friends, thank you so much. I will see you next week.